I'm Bill Hodges, and this is Spotlight on Government. And believe it or not, I have caged a really true compassionate conservative. Now that's really hard to find, but I have a compassionate conservative here, Sandy Murman.
Good to be here, Bill.
I am delighted a person of your quality is on our county commission, and I know that you're passionate about two things in particular: children and homeless.
Yes.
And people that can't help themselves. So let's start out talking about that a little bit, what you're doing in that area and what you see as the things you're doing and what do you think need to be done.
Great. Well, let me go back a couple days. Friday, I had a great opportunity to speak to a graduating class of one of our smaller universities here in the Bay Area.
Oh, that's fun.
Give their commencement address. It was so much fun to see all these kids, and it's just, this is a great time to be a graduate, especially here in Hillsborough County, because there's so much opportunity, so many new businesses coming forward like Bristol-Myers Squibb, Amazon, USAA, Bass Pro Shops, so many new and fabulous economic development opportunities that bring jobs.
2,000 jobs with Amazon alone.
Absolutely. And so talking to these students that were just graduating and getting ready to go out on their journey of life, it was great to give them a message. And it made me think about, on the other end of the spectrum, the people that haven't been fortunate, that they've had to, they are homeless or they are without jobs. They've had unfortunate circumstances in their life. And I think that this is a necessary service that county governments need to provide. And I'm not sure how much the state needs to be a partner in it, but I do think our county and local governments need to definitely take a hold of this problem and solve it. And that's exactly what we've done. Now, it started off a little bit of a rocky road because of some incidents, I think poor services in some of the housing areas. But I think what we've done is we've totally retooled and transformed all of our homeless services,
really?
All the social services, our neighborhood service centers, our senior centers, everything has been retooled, but especially in homeless. We have a total effort with public and private individuals. So we have the public and private sector working together because we know our funding alone cannot stand by itself to take care of this problem, that the private sector also has to be involved in it because it benefits them so much. We have less people going to jail. We have less people in our emergency rooms. We have less law enforcement, interaction.
Sure.
They can be on the streets getting the bad guys. And I really think that that helps the private sector quite a bit. Their tax dollars then are being put to good use to keep the homeless off the streets, help give them services if they have chronic issues, and really work with them to try and get them back to work. And so I think
I think most people really would rather be working. I hear a lot about, well, they're lazy, they don't want to work, and they can get this and get that if they don't work. But I think most people really want to work. They'd like to have the self-esteem, don't you?
There is, but there's a whole spectrum, a scale of how injured some of these homeless people are. Some of them have severe mental health issues. Some of them have substance abuse issues. Some of them are veterans. A
lot of them. We have 95,000 veterans on the streets.
Absolutely. And I hope most people feel nobody that has worn a uniform to protect our country should be living on the streets. And that should be first priority. Get those people in services, get them in housing. And we have, the county has really committed to date so far about $8 million in providing housing vouchers, housing services to families and to chronic homeless. We've got a new project up here in North north of Hillsborough County called Cypress Landings, which is for chronically homeless people. And these are the ones that are really, they're at the far end of the scale where they're so severely, have mental
Damaged.
health issues, damaged, whatever, that they really need to be in permanent supportive housing. And that means that we get them off the streets, we get them in housing units, but we provide the services and hopefully give them work-related services too so that they can go back to work. And I think it's very successful, the pilot project. We've had 23 housed chronically homeless people that are not on the street any longer. We're getting ready to expand that program now because of the great results that we've seen from this program.
How many do you think are on the streets right now homeless? Do
We
you
have
any
about
feeling for that?
500. We have
Really?
about
Only 500?
500 chronically homeless people
Really?
are on the street. Now, covering all the
Does that
homeless,
take in the whole county?
the whole county, but including families and veterans, it's about 2,200. 2,200 people. But the chronic homeless, those are the people that are homeless because they have substance abuse or mental health issues, or, God forbid they be a veteran that is still on the streets that we haven't taken care of. But we're really reaching out to take care of these populations now, and I'm very proud of our county, how we have taken the challenge and we've solved the problem. We're moving forward with great services in a public-private partnership. And we have a newly transformed homeless coalition board that's now called the Tampa Hillsborough Homeless Initiative Board, with public and private partners on it. So we're working every day to solve this problem, and our goal is that every homeless person has a safe place to live in the Hillsborough County.
I can't imagine laying on the street in a box overnight. I'm sorry, I just can't imagine. I've done it out in the woods, but just in the city, it's even more dangerous than it is in the woods.
Right. Well, we know that. And we have talked to these individuals. I actually got to participate this year in the homeless count that we did. I went on the streets. I spent my time in Ybor City, where we know a lot of homeless, chronic homeless, and homeless people live on the street. And it's just to hear them talk and
That'd be heartbreaking
the
in a lot of
situations
ways.
that's happened where they just haven't, it's been hard luck situations. They've gotten their job ended. Their families deserted them because of some issues they may have. So I think we just want everybody to know, if you come to Hillsborough County to live, that we have a good quality of life standard here. We want it to be for everybody.
If I know somebody that's on the street, where do I get them help?
You call Hillsborough County to our social services department, and we will get you, or you can also go to any one of our 5 neighborhood service centers, which are getting a new transformation and a new name called Community Resource Centers. And actually, we're looking at 2 communities where we haven't had neighborhood services before, in Town and Country and Brandon, to try and extend our services out there through, getting, some building and offices set up. But they can call Hillsborough County. We have contracts with Metropolitan Ministries, Salvation Army, ACTS. They can go to any one of those individuals. They can go to any one of our neighborhood service centers.
So you got them working together.
Everybody. This is a very coordinated system that is working together to help solve this problem.
One of the ways to solve this problem, maybe not for the chronic, but for those who are just had bad luck, are jobs. And I know that's another area that's very important to you, and you've got one of the biggest job producers moving into your district. Although it's going to start costing me tax money. And I'm not really excited because I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon.
Amazon is going to be is a touchdown for our community, to have them come here and bring those jobs with them. it's just will kickstart. South County was one of the hardest hit in the recession in 2008, and I really feel like Amazon, where they're located, is helping give so many people in that community opportunity.
Roughly 2,000 jobs when they
Absolutely,
fill
from
up?
Palm River all the way down to Ruskin, all the way over to Waimama. They're going to be roughly, right now, saying 1,500 jobs will be available to these people. They're going to be located very close to the Hillsborough Community College South Shore campus. So if they're lacking some skills, they can go to Hillsborough Community College and get some skills training. They can also go to our Career Source, what used to be Workforce Alliance. We have them set up in our Neighborhood Service Center down in the South Shore Regional Service Center. That's the name of that Neighborhood Service Center down there. And the Career Source is down there almost daily, helping people that walk in that need help with jobs. They do job training, they do employer job training. They will help any individual try and find meaningful work in our community.
One of the things as a side benefit, we talk about Amazon itself, but the side things that are moving in. Almost all the restaurants down there are rehabbing or refurbishing or rebuilding. And I know as soon as 2,000 people move in, or 1,500 or even 1,000, they're going to end up putting some more restaurants down there in that South County area.
Well, it's not just the restaurants. It'll be hotels. It'll be other businesses. What that is going to be is Amazon is going to be the nucleus for a huge, wide-range development. That area has kind of languished without development for many years, because I know I have driven by it, and there's huge opportunity there.
Lots of streets and no buildings.
Lots of streets, no buildings, plenty of land. And I think that they will be the nucleus of, and there will be a lot of spin-off activity.
Except for there goes my tomato
Amazon.
fields.
Oh, boy. Well, sorry about that, but there will be some really great opportunities. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to make the Ruskin, Apollo Beach, Sun City, Waimama really be a community. Everything south of Big Bend Road will turn into its own community, just like Brandon is its own community.
Right, a destination.
It will have its own branding. It will have its own image. And, we've got arts and culture down there already. We've done that through the Firehouse Cultural Center. We're putting in a whole new sports complex. Waterset is a wonderful residential development.
Where's the sports complex?
Will be right in adjacent to the Waterset residential community. So it's going to be a really great, what you said, destination for many families. They can live, work, and play in the same community.
Any talk, maybe it's already been announced and I missed it, of putting an exit to 19th Street and keep people off of 674?
Well, right now our
relieve some of the 674 traffic.
You bring up a very important point, because traffic is going to increase in South County exponentially because of all this development, residential and commercial. So what's going to happen is our transportation staff right now are working with DOT. We're trying to work ahead of the curve so we don't let traffic build up and it become a huge backlog issue. That people are stuck in traffic every day. We definitely don't want it to be like what happened to Brandon. They waited, all that came in, and then the roads had so much, they had so much traffic, they didn't know what to do with it. So we're really trying to work ahead of the curve. We're studying it right now. We're supposed to be bringing something back probably before September that will hopefully be a good recommendation. I do know we want to extend Apollo Beach Boulevard all the way through to 301 because we have a lot of north-south roads, but we don't have a lot of east-west roads except for 674 and Big Bend, and we need other thoroughfares to help break up the traffic on those other two roads. So we hope that, and again, every time you build a road or do something, that again brings tremendous jobs. It brings, well, it's just about jobs, creating jobs. Florida, Hillsborough County is the leader in this state in creating jobs. And we have the lowest unemployment rate of anywhere in the state. So we are.
Speaks well for what the commission has done.
It does, and we are poised for growth. And Hillsborough County is financially sound. We have AAA bond rating. We have very low debt. We are poised for growth, and for the first time ever, you've got city, county, all the mayors of the other cities. We are all working together.
That's nice.
Working together in this transportation leadership policy group to help solve and come up with a solution to our transportation issues and plan for the future and come in with a plan different than 2010 when we had the failed referendum. Come up with a plan that's a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, 15, so we can phase these things in so that people don't, you know, we're not asking for them to empty out all their savings in their, you know, their pocketbooks right now to help pay for something that they may not use for 15 years. We're going to phase it in. So it's going to be done
Not
very...
like the power companies, huh?
Yeah, no, it's going to be done very carefully, very methodically, so that we are creating the best scenario for our residents and that there is something in it
And that's
for
your Transportation Policy Committee?
Absolutely. There's something in it for everybody in Hillsborough County, from South Shore up to West Chase, from New Tampa all the way to South Tampa. Everybody will benefit from our transportation policy.
I really believe we need to do something about rapid transit in this area.
We do.
If I fly into Atlanta, I don't even think about buying a car or renting a car, excuse me. I just get on the rapid transit, take it to where I want to go, get off, and usually there's a bus that'll meet me there, take me another few stops to wherever I have to get off. Don't think about renting. And here, renting a car and traveling around, Victor Chris was saying it takes him an hour and a half to get home at night from the office. And that's just a long time. And a lot of executives looking at an area aren't going to tolerate that kind of transit time.
Well, that's so true. The delays, you know, what the gridlock on the roads is really is not acceptable.
I won't go downtown during certain hours, period.
And we are expecting 500,000 more residents in Hillsborough County by 2025. So we better have a plan pretty quick. But again, it's got to be phased in. You just don't dive into the deep end before you know how to wade into the pool. And by what I mean by that is saying that when we're developing this policy, that we build up our ridership so that mass transit becomes something that everybody wants and can use over a period of time. We know we need express bus service coming from South County into downtown. We know that. We know we need to connect
with Wi-Fi.
Yes, Wi-Fi. We know we need bus rapid transit. We know we need some other forms of rapid transit to get our people from New Tampa all the way to I-4 to connect to downtown, to connect to the airport. West Shore is one of our busiest work centers. We know South Shore and Brandon is a busy work center. USF is a huge work center for us. How are we going to transport these people from one section to another?
I don't know, but roads aren't cheap. But I do know that getting off of the Selman and going to Route 4 to be charged an extra $1.50 for that quarter mile is just absolutely ridiculous.
But it cuts off 15 minutes.
Well, it cuts off the time, but that's a lot of money for that one little segment there.
And it takes trucks off our major roadways. It gets them onto the major interstates.
I guess what I'm pointing to is nothing's free.
Nothing is free
So
in
there won't be any
transportation.
new free options. You know, if you build a rapid transit system, it's not going to be free. It's going to be paid for. It'll be paid for partially by public funds and partially by private in order to make it a viable opportunity. Speaking of that, I do want to ask you, because it has one of its legs in your district, about the ferry service, a potential ferry service.
Absolutely. That is another mode of bus transport, not bus
Exactly.
transportation,
Another
but
type of
transportation. The
and
ferry
takes cars off
system
the roads.
is a great option, especially for our service people. We have probably about 5,000 service people that live out in East and South County that would
Really,
be
that
able.
many from McDill?
Yes, we do. We have quite a few. Actually, the numbers fluctuate from
Yeah.
time to time, but we have quite a few. And if we can get them into a faster mode of transportation, like ferry or bus rapid transit, where there are no stops, they pick up at one spot and go right to the base, or they take the ferry and they go right to the base, it will save these, most of the people that live, the McDill employees or servicemen that live out in East and South County
Or
live
civilian
there
employees.
because, or civilian, live there because, it's more affordable. The housing is much more affordable. So I think it's so costly, for them to take the crosstown. They go through all that. They take that hairpin. They have to go all the way north, take the hairpin turn, then come all the way south to go to McDill. And I think, we got to give them a direct route and something that's very affordable to them.
Does it look like it can be affordable? I haven't really looked at any of the feasibility studies. Does it look like it can be affordable?
I think the ferry is going to be very affordable. And one of the best parts of it being affordable is that the federal government does pay for their transportation in some of these, in some ways. They pay a portion of it.
Oh, really?
So I think part of the fee from the ferry could be paid for through the federal government.
Now, is McDill still in your district? I'm not sure where you're.
Yes, it is.
I thought you had two legs.
I have
of the three, and
everything
they're
along
talking
the
about-
coast.
Talking about taking it down to St. Pete also.
Well, on the
As a
off-peak
triangle.
peak hours, obviously that'd be for the McDill employees, but
Okay.
off-peak, like weekends and evenings, we could use it at Channelside. We could use it going over to St. Pete. There's many things we could use it for, and I think it has tremendous opportunity and possibility for all of our residents, but especially the McDill. I think it really cuts.
Now, will Bay Shore handle
down.
the traffic for those people that want to go on up into Tampa?
Well,
Or are
Bay
you
Shore
gonna-
does already handle the traffic. Most of the McDill service employees take
Have to
Bay
come
Shore.
down or go back at this
A lot
rate.
of them do to save
Yeah.
dollars from getting on the crosstown. So I think that's why the ferry became such an attractive option, because it was so affordable, it was easily accessible, and they could just get to work faster.
Does it look like this is really going to come to fruition somewhere down in the foreseeable future?
It is an option that we are looking at. Now, we know it's expensive. It's about $24 million, but we're looking at it in terms of a public-private partnership, and we're also looking at all of our roads and building roads and transit systems as public-private partnership. So I think that's what makes it very attractive for us. If we can get the private industry to come in and be partners with us and help us, cut down some of that cost of the $24 million, then
What's the
obviously.
total county budget?
Oh, the total county budget this year was $3 million.
No,
$3 billion. Billion.
So 24 million out of 3 billion is not a whole lot of, I mean, it's a lot of money to you and I without a doubt, but it's still a small fraction.
Well,
of what-
a good portion of our budget, we have very little discretionary income. That's why we're doing our transportation policy group, because we know we have to look at the various funding mechanisms that we can use to help fund this transportation. But a good portion of our budget goes to fire safety, law enforcement, the sheriff. Actually, about 60% of our budget goes to fire safety, all of our fire stations and public safety. I mean, that's such an important part to us.
But we do have a roads budget, correct?
Oh, yes, we do, but we don't have money in our roads budget to build new roads right now. We're working on, actually, we don't even have a lot for maintenance of our roads, though we are improving that with the increase in revenue that we have coming in from property values are going up right now. We have more property tax revenue. So we are able, I think, at this point to look at doing some repair and maintenance on some of the current roads that we have, and go from there. But we do need, we know our funding for any new transit system or roads
Has to come from additional
it
revenue.
will have to come from an additional funding source, and I don't know what that is right now. We're
Property
trying to
values
be,
are going up.
we are being very creative. We have, like I said, we have very little debt. We have great bond ratings, and I think we are poised financially to help, have a great transportation policy come out that will benefit our community. What that takes shape of in terms of grants or using existing revenues differently, new sources of revenue, we don't know that yet. But I tell our constituents, stay tuned, next 60 days, we'll be having that information on the desk.
We have about a minute and a half left. And the
Okay.
one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, we didn't get to, will you come back?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
That's a promise, right?
And I
Everybody
thank
heard
you
that.
for doing this and getting our community more informed.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about was the port. I had our new port director on. I was very impressed with what he had to say, his background and the things I'm seeing him. That is the crown jewel, and that's all in your district, correct?
You took the words out of my mouth. It is in my district. I sit on the port board. That is where the opportunity exists. We have 5,000 acres on our port, and we have, not
That's
common.
a lot of acres.
It is, and not common with other ports. We have developable land still available for growth. So imagine all the opportunity, and we are whittling down public support of our port to where it's just 10% now. It's only used for capital expenditures
Well, you
for
just
growth.
jacked the bridge up a little bit.
Well, there's always other options besides that, but we're looking at plenty of options out there to really expand in our cruise lines. But we know we have to expand our cargo
There's
and
some
container
bargains.
business. There's huge market available in exports of our goods that we develop here in Hillsborough County and in Central Florida. So we have great opportunity there. It is a crown jewel.
I just absolutely love it. Sandy Murman, you did promise me you'll come back.
I did,
And-
absolutely.
And I'll tell you, I've watched you from the time that you were in the state legislature. You were the first president pro tem for the Republicans, at least, first woman in the
Yes.
state legislature. I've watched you on a lot of committees and doing a lot of things. You're always busy, but I appreciate you being here, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Want to help take care of our people the best way we can.
I'm Bill Hodges. This is Spotlight on Government. Sandy Murman has been my guest. You're unique, you're special, you're great. Tell yourself so often because you are, and we'll see you on the next Spotlight on Government. And again, Sandy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.